Hey everybody, it's Julie and welcome to another episode of Flower Friday. Today we're going to be making this really cute, let me make sure it's in the camera, really cute little barrette, and it's made of fabric. I've made mine out of velvet, purple velvet, and today we're going to be making the other flowers out of this purple fabric that I found at a thrift store. So let's get started. So we have our fabric. This is just I don't know, just it's not cotton, it's more of like a polyester maybe blend of some type, but it's kind of silky and it'll have a nice poof to it. I made mine out of velvet and this is what it looks like. Now I'm going to make the one that we're making on camera today a little bit bigger so it's a little easier for you to see. What I did with mine, I used my Sizzix circles die and used the largest circle, and I believe it's a 2.5 inch. Yes, 2.5 inch circle, and that made a fairly small flower, which is great for barrettes because you don't really need anything too big. But if you want more of a statement piece or you're using this as a focal point on a project that you're making, you might want to make it a little bit bigger. Now, since I don't have a bigger die, a bigger circle die, I'm going to just use the top of this cup. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to trace and I'm going to cut my circles out. It's easy to do. You don't have to have a die for it. You don't have to have a die cut machine or anything like that. So I have a lot of fabric here. I have to tell you, I think I told you guys this in a past video, but look at your thrift shops for fabric, especially when you're not, if you're not a sewer. You know, I'm not really a sewer. I know how to sew and I can do some small projects like that. I'm not great at it. But I have found loads of fabric at Goodwill and at my local thrift shops that I can use for flowers. So I'm just going to kind of spread this out a little bit and find the edges because I want to just trace it once and cut it 6 times basically. Save me a little bit of time. You know what, I'm just going to cut a piece off because this is just too much. It's kind of hard to fold this big piece of fabric. Here we go. We got 2 ends here. I'll just give a quick cut. And since I don't use this for sewing, I don't necessarily, I'm not like super careful when I cut it. And sometimes I even just rip the fabric because it's just easier for me. But now I know that you guys that are sewers and quilters are probably looking at this video and going, oh my God, you're ruining it. But, you know, I guess if I was a sewer and quilter, I would probably feel that way. But since I'm not, I don't. And I'll just snip anywhere at all. Okay, let me just set this off to the side. Okay, so I've got my fabric here and I'm just going to fold it so that I can get 6 circles out of it. And like I said, I'm just going to trace this once. I'll probably pin it so that the layers don't come apart at all. And then I'll just trace around that cup once with a marker. Let me just stick, you know what, that pin is probably not going to be enough. Let me find another one. I'll use this. Can never go wrong with these big stick pins. Okay, so let's just, all you need is a cup or something bigger than the die that you have, or, you know, whatever you want to use. Let me find a marker I can use. And I'm going to cut to the inside of this so I'm not worried if the circle or if the black marker shows through, because it doesn't matter. When I sew it, I'm going to sew that all in anyway. Okay, let me put one more pin in here so that I can cut it. And they don't have to be perfect because the where I'm cutting right now, that's the edges that are going to be toward the inside, so you really will never see this. So if it's not a perfectly cut circle, you won't have to worry about it. It's no big deal. And these are super easy to make. And if you have children, like if you have girls and you need to make a quick hair accessory, these are perfect. And really, they take about 5 minutes to make. Not hard at all. Really easy to make, and you know, the outcome is always really nice. My daughter wears these. She's almost going to be 17, and she still wears these in her hair. Okay, so I've got my circles cut out here. Let me make sure I have 6, or at least 6. I do. Good deal. Okay, so now what you're going to need is a needle and thread. All I've got here is just, I've threaded this needle, if you can see it there. I've threaded this needle and I've just tied a knot in the end. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take your circles and you're just going to sew all the way around the edges with a running stitch. Really easy. Really quick to make, and they look really cute too. While you're making them, think about what type of center you want to put in your flower. If you want it to be a pearl, or if you want it to be bling, or, you know, whatever, it's going to look nice no matter what. So as I get closer to the edge, I just pull it tight so I can see where I'm at, and then I just keep going along with the running stitch. Okay, so that is what, all right, I just wanted to show you guys how I did that with stitching around it, because I realized I was out of frame quite a bit. So let me just go ahead and start that over again. So we're just going to go ahead and do our running stitch right around the outside, and doesn't really matter how close or how far away you get from the end. You know, it's up to you. But what I do is I get about halfway and then I pull it tight so I can see where I'm at, and you know, just so I can finish up here. I'm about 1/4 of an inch away from the seam, by the way. Okay, so let me just pull that tight again. And I've just got a little bit left. And I'll finish that up. And then what I like to do, I think I said this already, but what I like to do is once I get that whole piece together, and it's nice and fluffy, just like I like it, I like to just put a couple stitches in here. Just go even just one time through, just to secure it. Okay, just to secure it so it's nice and tight, and you know, this is your first petal. And then you'll just keep continuing to do the rest of the petals the same way. So what I'm going to do is I'll probably go off camera here or speed this up, but I'm just going to go ahead and sew all the rest of my petals like this. So I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so once you have your olive petals on your flower, then what you're going to do is you're going to just stitch behind to just secure it. Now I've only used 5 petals. I did cut 6 circles, but I only used 5 petals because I thought it looked better this way. You can choose to use all 6 if you want, but I liked it with just 5. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to stitch just a couple times behind so that my flower stays together without having to use too much hot glue. So I'm just going to stitch each direction just once, and that will be plenty to hold it together while we're getting everything else together. Okay, so we've got those stitched together. So now we're going to flip it over, and you can see what your flower is going to look like. And right now you need to figure out what you're going to use as the center of your flower, because that's going to make a big difference of how your flower looks. And it won't look real pretty right now, but as soon as you find whatever you're going to use for your center, your flower will actually look really nice. So I think I'm going to use a big piece of bling. So let me gather that up. Let's see what I got here. I've got some vintagey buttons and things that I came across at a thrift store. This is an old earring, and I think maybe I might use that. Give it a little more of a classy look. Actually, I think I am going to use that. That's really kind of cute. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to snip this back off with a pair of jewelry clipper thingies. Don't really have a name for these. I know that they do have one, but I'm not sure what it is. So I'm just going to snip that off so that it's flat. And then I'm going to just arrange this so it covers up all of any of my loose ends that I might have. And then I'm going to use some hot glue to attach it. Okay, so now that I've got my center on my flower, what I need to do now is I need to do something for the back. So what I like to do is, number one, I'm going to snip this thread off. I like to find a circle punch that is about as big as the back of your flower. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my 1-inch circle punch. And I'm just going to use any cardstock that I have laying around. It doesn't matter, you're not going to see it anyway. And then I'm just going to hold that down on there. Just make sure it still looks good. I need to do a little bit more work on that front, I think. Okay, now I'm just going to make sure I don't have any loose threads. I'm going to snip them off, and then I'm going to just apply some hot glue to my edges in the back. And you need to put quite a bit, especially if you don't really sew it a lot. This is just going to hold all those loose threads together so you don't have pieces coming apart later on. Okay, so then I'm just going to hold that down. Now it will be a little hot, so watch your fingers. Okay, and I'm going to let that dry for just a second. Now, here's where you can decide how you're going to use this. If you're going to use this on a project, then you don't need to worry about the backing. If you won't need like a pin back, or you won't need a barrette back or anything like that. But if you're going to use it for your hair, then you're going to need to find something like this. Okay, some type of little bobby pin, or they sell the actual like alligator clip things for your hair. You can use those too. But I like to use these. This is what my daughter likes to use in her hair, so I've got quite a few of these. And you can get these at Hobby Lobby, and they sell them in the jewelry section by the hair supplies. Okay, so I'm just going to put some hot glue right here in the center of this well. And now here's the trick so it doesn't all spread out on you. I'm just going to let that sit for just a couple seconds. It's not going to lose any of its tackiness. It's just going to flatten out just a little bit so it doesn't all gooze out the edge. Okay, and then I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to just plop it right down. You will have a little bit pop out, but not very much. Now, you need to let that sit for a few minutes because that hot glue needs to harden. So while that's happening, I'll just clean up some of my mess here. I have an announcement that I want to make because I'm really excited about it. I did make 1,000 subscribers a couple days ago when I posted that video, so I'm really thankful to you guys for that. And I had a lot of nice comments on that video, and you don't know how nervous I was to post that because, I never really, I think only on one other video out of all of my videos had I ever shown my face. And that was way back in July or February, I think, before I had lost weight, and I still have a lot of weight to lose, but I have lost some weight, so I was a little nervous, what kind of comments would I get, that type of thing. But you guys were really nice to me, and I really appreciate it. And so I was feeling pretty good about myself the other day when I made 1,000 subscribers. So I decided to apply for a partner for YouTube, and I was lucky enough to be approved for partner, and I'm seriously so excited about that. I mean, it was one of my goals since probably about November of last year when then that was about 3 months in that I had been doing videos, so I was really excited. So I just wanted to thank everybody who's subscribed to me because I really, really appreciate it. And I wanted to remind you guys that I will have a video or a giveaway coming up to show my appreciation to you guys, and it'll probably be early next week, maybe mid next week, that I'll post it. Okay, so once your glue has hardened, and this one still has just a little bit ways to go, but I'll go ahead and show you. You can flip it over and you can see what your flower is going to look like. And then all you need to do is put that in your hair and you're all ready to go. I hope that everybody has a great day and you've enjoyed this Flower Friday. Please leave any questions or any comments that you might have down below. And if you aren't already a follower of mine on Twitter, my Twitter ID is @Jay'sCraftyStudio. And I'll put that link down below too. I haven't really been on Twitter very long, but I really like it and it's kind of fun to use. So if anybody else is on Twitter, I'd love to have you guys follow me and I'll follow you back too. So I hope everybody has a great weekend and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.